An ATL Hood philosopher by the name of Young Thug once said,
Nigga, horses don't stop, they keep going. Yeah, you can lose your life, but it gon' keep going.
Ironically, this lyric is synonymous with the collective energy of this year.
I know a lot of astrology experts have already dissected what the energy of 2026 is about, especially when it comes to it being called the year of the fire horse. But I want to offer you a different perspective.
Hi, my name is Jeanne Kirby, and this is Fashion Divination, where style and spirit meet.
As we move throughout this year, I want to do a deep dive into the energies of 2026 through astrology, numerology, a little bit of divination, and a little bit of, I want to say, trend forecasting and dissecting. As a disclaimer, I'm not an astrologist or a numerologist. I just get these creative downloads that I feel pulled to share. And it's fun. So let's tap in. In numerology, 2026 is a 1 year. The number one represents innovation, pioneering, natural leadership, ambition, and originality. The number one is a goal oriented number. It is very determined and very bold. The number one is also associated with the star or the luminary, the sun. The sun is not a planet, but a source of light for our solar system. And as a source of light, the sun just is. It doesn't need permission to be itself or to be, it doesn't need permission to be or to act. Referencing sidereal astrology, the sun is associated with authority figures, patriarchy. On a deeper level, the sun represents a component of self, the conscious mind, and one's perception of self in the world, the intellect and the intellectual, and the ego. This is taken from Dana Knuckles, a Black sidereal astrologer, and her book of definitions. This is the year of not only leadership, but the year of the intellectual. Don't let them tell you otherwise. In astrology, the sun is ruled by the star sign Leo. Leo represents creativity, courage, determination, boldness, and the self, right? Leo preserves authority, whether it is the authority of one's will, perspective, or the authority of other people's. As a sidereal Leo stellium, I don't ever play about my self respect. That's one. But most importantly, I am unrestrained with my self expression because it is a portal for connection to others, but most importantly, to myself. 2026 is asking us to develop our creativity, originality, magnetism, charisma through self authorship. A lot of people want to be original and think that it often comes in the form of mimicry. Let me stop you right there. No. 2026 is the year to tap into the sacred embodiment of your own authenticity as a means to be original. No one can be you like you can. And that requires a deep connection to self. Those of us who are visionaries, artists, and those of us who are tapped in understand that our light must be nurtured. The sun doesn't ask permission to be, it just is. However, as human beings, we must understand that we must connect with our own inner source and connect with our inner light. You can't recognize your own magic, your own ashe, if you're busy looking for guidance on how to be you and how to lead yourself. This is also represented through African cosmology, namely Ifa, which is a West African Yoruba spiritual tradition and religion. There is this concept of the Ori. The Ori is represented by the physical head in your higher self and inner divinity. It is your inner consciousness that shapes your destiny and your essence. This is an ancient African cosmology and science. Similarly, in voodoo and Haitian voodoo, there is also a concept of taking ownership of your tête, and tête means head.
With respect to the voodoo religion, the concept of owning your tête or met tête in the Yoruba religion and concept of the Ori, it is very important to understand that while there are some distinctions, both operate or utilize the head as a site for sovereignty and self governance.
Why is that important? Standing and owning your own sovereignty is a key message for 2026. What is sovereignty? What does it mean to be sovereign? According to dictionary.com, a sovereign is a monarch, a king, a queen, or a supreme ruler, or also a person who has supreme power or authority. What does that mean in the context of self? It means to have power and authority over yourself. So when you are owning your tet, it means that you are connecting with your own inner authority and leader. That is a key message for 2026.
Funny enough, I went to the Brooklyn Museum and I was led to this particular work of art. And I don't know what, at first, I didn't know what pulled me to it, but I was just so captivated by the imagery of the Black woman laying in bed with these beautiful flowers. And I just happened to look over, and the piece was made a by an artist called Harmonia Rosales, and the piece was called Ori. If that is not spiritual alignment, then I don't know what is. And it went to explain how in Yoruba religion, Ori is the concept of one's intuition and divine selfhood. Everyone holds the power to shape their destiny through Ori. Here, Harmonia Rosales personifies Ori as a Black woman lounging among a lush array of swirling flowers, petals, and pollinators. She rests within an ornate roundel set with golden rings, symbolizing the cycles of individual existence. The lilies, tulips, lilacs, hibiscus and gardenia, peonies, medicinal, bacopa, and roses represent love, healing, and renewal, which coexist in balanced environments. Along the edge of the frame, creeping strangler figs signify the outside influences that can jeopardize such internal harmony. Imbued with power, beauty, and symbolism, the artist's portrait of Ori is a depiction of growth and self realization.
Having authority over yourself is a fully embodied connection. This is an important tool needed towards the fight for a liberated future, and most importantly, this very present moment, especially with everything that we are witnessing. The future and the world that we are seeking requires us to connect with our divinity, the divinity within. 2026 being a sun ruled year is asking us to connect with our sovereignty, to redefine and reimagine leadership, or what I refer to as the year of the new emerging dynamic leader. For too long, we have been giving a blueprint on what a leader is and what they stand for. But as we look around in our current reality and through a socio-political lens, we can recognize that the many people that proclaim themselves as figures of authority are not good leaders and are currently leading us to peril. 2026 is offering us the gift of connecting with our own authority and inner leadership. We often look to others to lead us and to not be curious about the qualifications that make them worthy of leadership. We must ask or question those in power and ask ourselves if they're really fit to lead us as people and as a nation, as a country. But in order to ask that question, we must reassess our relationship to power. Historically, many people associate leadership with men or male authority figures. And many proclaim that they're born to lead simply by the gender that they were socialized. However, I don't fully agree with that at all. And this is a discourse that rears its head in so many unique ways via social media. And I don't want to go too deep into that. I just had to say this because it's important. Um, I think this idea of men as natural leaders is mm, not sufficient and not really true. But that's all I'm going to say because this is not what this video is about. And I'm also not trying to ruffle any feathers except my own. All jokes aside, it is about not being afraid of challenging those in power and to challenge our relationship with authority, specifically those leaders who claim power for power's sake and bring harm to our communities and to our world. To challenge our own inner oppressor and leader that reflects the systems that we are indoctrinated under that fragments our connection to self and to others. Sometimes we become scared to question those in power because of the violence that we may face, but also because we have been taught to have a obedient and subservient relationship with authority. This idea that we are not to question and challenge those in power is false and creates a complex relationship with the empire, right? It stems into learned helplessness and a feeling of powerlessness that is fictitious. You are powerful. With the misinformation and propaganda that is taking strides within social media and every part of daily life, the infiltration of AI and everything that we do, and the many wars that are currently happening, specifically in Palestine, specifically in the DRC, specifically in the Congo, Sudan, Haiti, Lebanon, and many places around the world. And also, so many people are looking on the outside for others to lead them that they forget that they have a right to lead themselves. But also, it is up to those who are in leadership positions to be part of a community, to be able to delegate, to be able to lead and assist in the attainment of shared goals if we are meant to do this work together and be part of, truly be part of a community. Now, here's my favorite part or my favorite segment where we dive really into what this video is about, the trends and fashion as a form of divination. When I think about the number one, the sun, and the year of the fire horse, they all have one thing in common, right? This common energy of audacity, the audacity to take up space, to express, to channel that vitality into style and into meaning. And as a lover of all things esoteric, glamour, beauty, spiritual, spirituality, and Afrofuturistic, I love using personal style to communicate my rich inner world, to think beyond, to exist beyond, not just to convey aesthetics, but to connect with the deeply personal, intentionally and intuitively. If 2026 is the year of the new emerging leader, personal style can be a form of divination and form of glamour magic that can assist you in embodying, right? Better yet, not glamour magic, but a form of ritual, right? That assists you in embodying leadership qualities in a way that not only serves the collective, but within your own personal life. We often think about fashion style as these two dimensional concepts or forms of artistic expression that have been flattened into aesthetics, gimmicks. And while fashion has and can transform and speak to the woes and ills of society, it can also connect to our collective and personal liberation. This one year speaks to experimentation, individuality, and unrestrained style and creativity. One of the ways that we can see this in action is through the runway and through what is trending. For example, one of the trends right now is color saturation and color blocking through the use of bold colors and this resurgence of, again, the 2010s, right? And one cannot talk about or mention the 2010s without mentioning color blocking. Color blocking, of course, was not invented in 2010, but it was part of the trend as well back then, as well as, this resurgence of the 80s. And I don't know, I love color blocking. I love the use of bold colors and I love the exploration of different color combinations that we've been seeing is purple, right? The resurgence of purple. And if you've been paying attention, purple has been everywhere lately. And I do admit I am very biased because purple is my favorite color. I'm a purple girly, lashes are purple. Like, I love purple. It's my favorite color. We are, um, I don't know, purple is a very chic, beautiful color, but it does hold some certain significations. The color purple and violet has been prevalent in some of the latest collections. Purple is a color of royalty, and it is a color that is connected to the crown chakra. Bring it back to what I mentioned earlier about owning our ori. The crown chakra represents your physical head in your spiritual head. And one way to protect your head is to claim and step into your own sovereignty. One of the key concepts of the crown chakra is to connect with your own inner divine knowledge. With consideration to what we are experiencing in these present moments, becoming or tapping into self authorship is a key message. This resurgence of purple and it being such a trendy color brings me back to a time when Max Heroin was a cult favorite and had every black girl in the US or just globally rocking these beautiful bright purple lips. And also when OCC Lip Tart had just stepped on the scene with their like matte lipsticks that were like in these little tubes. I still have mine somewhere, but I can't even find it. And it doesn't even make sense to show you guys because it's probably a biohazard now and it needs to be thrown in the trash. But it also reminds me of Keisha Kayor's lipstick brand. And if you were there, you remember that Keisha Kayor had she came out with these, like, I think she was like one of the first, well, I don't want to say one of the first, but she really revolutionized the lipstick game because she had so many different colors from yellows and all different type of purples because that's where I was at. But she had the gold ones and like the silver ones and she used to rock them and I used to be like, oh my god, like I remember I used to be on the website just like wishing that I had the money to buy like all these lipsticks and just all these different colors just to play around with and just have fun. Like, who I love a bold lip. I love like a bright colored lip. Like, one of the trend forecasts for this year is jewel tones. And I expect for a lot of people to start rocking or wearing jewel tones because jewel tones is um it's just the use of beautiful colors. Like I love me a jade green. I love me like a ruby, a emerald green. And jewel tones speak to sophistication. It speaks to opulence and status. For instance, the Saint Laurent Spring 2026 and their resort wear collection had beautiful, beautiful jewel tones from emerald greens, from jade greens, from gold, all these beautiful colors. And jewel tones are also a great way to assist in deeply embodying a deeply rooted self confidence and sovereignty within your own personal style. Another trend is the use of metallics. Silver, gold, vibrant metallic colors like these John Galliano shoes that have been on my wish list for years are also a great way to incorporate fun, vibrancy, and as the kids say, whimsy into your outfits. And I love metallics, whether it's fuchsia, like metallic pink, metallic greens, like it's such a beautiful color that demands attention, but also you can wear it with like different colors, like definitely pastels, and just have fun and really play with and really experiment. And I think that really speaks to this one year, right, as a year of experimentation, of unrestrained style. And of course, when we talk about colors, we can't skip out on neon. Neon colors are everywhere right now, and I'm really loving it. I just love seeing the girls just have fun with colors, from neon yellows, electric blues, hot pinks, lime greens. These highly saturated and fluorescent colors were also very popular in the 2010s and the 80s, right? Specifically the 80s, where it showcased optimism and this sense of excess that was about making a statement and being seen. Tapping back into the sense of optimism will allow us to build longevity when it comes to our own personal and collective liberation. The people want change and are craving originality. And what's more original than moving away from and challenging the very systems that are keeping us stuck and in misalignment with our minds, body, spirit, as well as each other? All in all, it's refreshing to see people play with colors and utilize neons in their own personal style this summer. I don't know about you, but I definitely will. Another way that I've also been utilizing this energy within my own personal style is through one of my favorite things that I love to do, which is jewelry, or what I call sacred adornments, right? Um, Within the runways, eccentric collars or like high collars um, have been really floating in my mind's eye, and I've been really inspired by them, right? This is a piece that I made myself by because I was inspired by a few looks from the runway. I was inspired by Delara Fen. I don't even want to butcher their name, and as well as a host of different other designers who are using feathers and utilizing them in such a beautiful way. And high collars and high necks are really in right now, and the way that I see this is high collars are also a prime example of the sun's influence in the of the collective, or on the collective specifically, right? And ruled by Leo and embodied through the collective, specifically the Maga Nakshatra, which represents lineage, ancestors, and legacy. 2026 is here to remind us of what it means to have and to hold power, both personal and collective power. And also, you can't walk with your head down while wearing an eccentric collar. This trend is to remind us that one must always hold their head up and have ownership over your own life, and your own future. Chin up. There is a regalness to chokers that I love. There is something ancestral about the adorning of your neck, the very thing that allows you to hold your head up. A timeless piece of jewelry, chokers were used for practical purposes, such as protection for warriors and as a symbol of tribal pride and identity. For example, the Maasai people wore beaded chokers that were ritualistic in nature and a language unto itself that showcased history, age, social status, and unique symbolism. Likewise, through beadwork, the Zulu people also utilized 7 colors, shapes, and symbols to communicate non material culture, which are expressive, reflective, and societal. Videos and this is your first time seeing me, one of the things that I like to do is utilize, I like to create playlists and utilize the collective energy of every year to create these fun playlists that aims at connecting us with the energy of whatever year. Now, this year, the name of the playlist is The Year of the Horse, and I call it the Leader Edit. And it's songs that are aimed at connecting us with our own inner sovereignty, our own inner authority, and our own inner leader. The songs that I've been feeling a pull to right now are by Beyonce, Mac Dre, Feeling Myself, Bad Bitch Bad B by Asia Lynn. If you remember her from the jerking era, I still listen to that song down, like literally one of my favorite songs. Especially when I need a boost to remind myself who I am, you know? Of course, Abra, Roses, classic, and my girl Salimata, Let's Talk About It, as well as Nasty Girl by Vanity 6 and Unstoppable by Santi Gold. I'm going to put the link of the playlist, and I really urge you to listen to it and just vibe. Like, it's really nothing too deep, nothing too serious. It's just something fun and creative. And really, music is a spiritual thing. And I love utilizing music and my divination, but also in my daily life. Like, music is life, okay?
And if you've gotten this far, here are a few questions that I would like for you to ponder and to sit with. What do you define as sovereignty? What does it mean to be sovereign? What are the qualities of an effective leader? What makes one trustworthy as a leader and or authority figure? How do you define leadership? How do you define power? What is your relationship to power? What are the systems and beliefs impeding you from connecting with your own inner authority? And if you've gotten this far, thank you again for watching my video and have a great day. Bye.